Wait, stay right there. I want to get a really good shot in with the camera. Okay, let's line that up. Hey! Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft The Journey with me, bugmancx. I'm over here at the town square and I've been doing a little bit of work on the slime farm since the last episode. In fact, I've been doing quite a lot of work. I've been running around here lighting up every single cave that I can, and the way that I've been doing that is by using the F3 debug screen like this to look for those little mob tags so that I can see where there might be a cave, and then I try and find a way down there either by exploring or digging, and as you can see, there are just no mob tags at all. And that's because I've spent literally hours down there lighting up all of those caves. In fact, if we have a look at my statistics, if I go under blocks, there's probably torches here somewhere. Torches placed 3,773. That is a lot of torches. So this area is now significantly lit up, and that will really help the rates of the slime farm, where we can get our amazing slime balls that have absolutely no use in this version, but it's fun to get them nonetheless. Oh, and you can also tell just how long I have been spending in the caves and around this area, because if you head up to the house here, you can see that our fungus infestation has spread significantly. I mean, I've just left this alone for the entire time that I've been working in this area, and just have a look at how much spread there is. I think I'm just going to leave it. Just see what happens to it over time. See when it might stop spreading. Who knows? But let's head down into the slime farm now. I want to show you the differences between where we left things in the last episode and where we are now. So having a look here, you can see exactly where we left things last time. This is where I had dug out the 3 slime chunks in front of me here. But in between episodes, I've been doing a lot more digging. And I mean a lot more digging. Have a look at that. I have now completely transformed this area. I have dug the canals all around the sides of this slime chunk, but there's more to this than what you can just see. So let's have a proper look at all of this. It is looking so much more clean now, and that's because I went through and made sure that as I did this, I wanted it to look nice and clean and tidy. I didn't want to have any torches anywhere, and I also wanted to make sure that all of the walls were consistent. So I've been around the edges here, and I have picked out every single incorrect block, any block that isn't a stone, and replaced it with a stone. And look at these clean lines around the edge, all looking very nice. And in particular, I do like the lava lighting above. Now, the thing about the slime chunks is that slimes can spawn at any light level, which is great because it means that you can light up your slime chunks and not have to worry about other hostile mobs. And that's exactly what we've done here. So nothing else can spawn except for slimes. I've also dug out the trenches on the edge here. As you can see, I've put in some water channels as well. So let me show you what is going on here. We have this corner here, which goes off in 2 directions. If a slime were to fall down here, it could either head off in that direction, or it could head off in that direction there. So, oh, and I should also point out that there are actually 2 layers. Maybe I'll come to that in a moment. So as the slime falls down here, it plops into the water stream. Now the difficulty with the slime is that it picks a direction and then it tries to keep heading there. So if it wanted to head off in this direction, it would just keep trying, and that can be a little bit annoying. So the water streams are here to encourage the slime to move. If the slime offers no resistance, then the water will just continuously push it like this all the way around the system. Even here in the corners, it will flow nice and smoothly all the way around, and it will just keep on going and keep on going. The difficulty is, if the slime is insistent about heading in that direction, it will bounce and push back like this all the time. So it takes a little bit of a while for the slimes to get to the end of the system, but eventually they tend to, or they can they can bottle up in a couple of places, which is a little bit annoying, but I think I've done the best that I can with the availability that I have, really, with the mechanics that I have. Have a look at this. You can see the 2 layers now. I've chosen 2 layers, and I'll show you why. Let's just pop up this ladder here onto the lower layer, which looks exactly the same, basically. And the reason I've done this is because, as you can see, I needed to have some extra layers in here in order to have this recessed lighting. So you can see we've got lava and then glass, and of course we need to have a solid layer on the top there on which the slimes can spawn. So to do that, we had to reduce it down to just 2 layers, 2 spawning pads, I guess you could call it. But I think that's perfectly fine because I don't need a completely OP farm. I just need it to produce slime and then send them through the system. So if we continue on our little, on our little water journey here, a slime would hopefully go around this section and it would find its way through here. Now this is where things get quite interesting, and also this is the other end where slimes can flow here and they'll join up and then continue on in this direction. Let me just get a block of some sort. So yeah, there we go. So that I can stop here. Now with this slime farm, what I really oh yeah, the lighting doesn't line up, but, you know, don't tell anyone. What I really wanted to have with this slime farm is I wanted the big slimes to be sent all the way up to the top. In fact, all sizes of slimes I wanted to be able to make their way up to the top so that we could process them up on the surface instead of down here where nobody can see it. And I think I've come up with a method that will allow us to do that. It's not exactly efficient, but it does seem to work. So what we have here is basically a system similar to this where we have signs and water source blocks that push the water in this direction, and they eventually meet up here with this staircase. And once they do, the slimes will hit this block here, and then even if they're trying to head off back in this direction, they will eventually be pushed here until they're caught in this source block here. Here comes a contestant right now, a couple of them in fact. They're going to get caught up on that block that I've left behind, which is probably a good thing because I don't want to get them over here annoying me. But we can have a closer look at this in a minute. So what will happen is the slimes will actually come across here and they will start to go up the stairs. Now, the good thing about this staircase, and if I put myself into the system here, I have no hands on the keyboard or mouse at the moment, so as you can see, there are enough water flow, water sources and water flow here to actually push me without any kind of resistance. So because slimes tend to bounce around, they're jumping around a lot, they will get caught up in all of this and make their way up the stairwell. And once we get to the top, I needed to turn them around because, oh, it's raining out there. I needed to turn them around because we need to send them back in the other direction so that they can end up at what will be the future processing facility. So here you can see I've got another stairwell going up. Now, as I said, slimes tend to choose one direction and then always try and head in that same direction. So this tends to be a little bit of a bottleneck. Often I find that slimes are facing this direction and just constantly pushing back against things like this, constantly pushing back and jumping back. I might actually end up filling in the ceilings a bit more to prevent that. I don't know yet, because they don't need to be this high. I just made them this high. Technically, they only need to be probably 3 high. But anyway, the slimes will progress up this stairwell. Was that one there? Yeah, he's targeting me. And then they will end up here. And at the moment, they end up here in this pit where they cannot escape. And that's good because otherwise I'd have slimes everywhere. Let me just get myself out and pop up here and we'll have a look where we are. There is the town square portal and here is the pit. So the slimes are going to make their way up here and then we will feed them into a system and build a structure around it like this. And we're going to process the slimes. We're going to come up with some sort of method of breaking them down visually into smaller slimes so that we can then punch them and get their slime balls, or kill them and get their slime balls, whatever we need to do. And I think we want to make this some sort of fun scientific laboratory or something like that. Something fun and interesting. I'm going to come back when it's not raining. Oh dear. Yes, this can happen if you leave your blocks in the system like I did. I'm going to have to clear this mess out. This is not good. What I want to do next is I want to fix up that little section there, because if I head over and just show you what I'm talking about. There's a little section here in front of those steps there where the slimes are able to stop because there's no additional flowing water. So I've realized that I need to add another one of these just in front of that to help continue to push the slime along. Listen to you all, hang on a minute. Oh wow, you're so loud. Okay, I need to clean up this mess. Ooh, ow. Oh, I should have brought food with me. I don't know what I was thinking. Thank goodness for spam clicking. That's all I can say. I've made a few little adjustments down there, and as you can see from those mob tags down there under the ground, they are now making their way up the system, and soon we should have a big pit full of slimes. That corner down there I made some specific changes to. I just simplified it and it now works much better. I mean, like you can see that slime down there, some of them can still push back, but eventually they'll get a nudge and then they'll start moving on and complete their way through the system. So it's not efficient, it is slow, but slimes make their way up, and that's the important thing. So now we need to figure out what we're going to do to process them, and this is the bit that I'm looking forward to because I think this is the part which we're going to have the most fun with. What we're going to do is break down the big slimes into medium slimes, and then the medium slimes into smaller slimes, and then from the smallest slimes we will harvest their balls, and I'm looking forward to making a kind of laboratory-like thing up here. Oh, look at you lot. So I better get designing. You know, Minecraft is a wonderful game. It's so educational. In Minecraft, you get to learn about how to make logic gates by building amazing redstone contraptions. You get to learn about how the game mechanics work and how to manipulate your environment by building amazing farms. And of course, you get to build drowning machines to kill your favorite mobs. I'm not sure if that's educational, but it works. Wow, I was not expecting this. I was just here working on my slime farm when I turned around and there was a pink sheep. Pink sheep have a phenomenally low chance of spawning in. If we cast our minds back, in Beta 1.2, when the dyes were added, the possibility that grey, light grey or black sheep to naturally spawn in was added to the game. Each of these colours had a 5% chance. In Beta 1.4, the possibility for brown and pink sheep was added. Brown sheep have a 3% chance of spawning in, but pink is a special case. To figure out the colour of the fleece, the game does a random roll between 0 and 99. If the roll is less than 5, the fleece will be black. Less than 10 and it's dark grey, less than 15 it's light grey, and less than 18 it's brown. But if the number is 18 or higher, the game will perform a second roll to determine if the fleece should be pink, and that roll is between 0 and 499. And if that random number selected is 0, the fleece will be pink, otherwise it's white. So that's only a 0.2% chance of those rolls resulting in a pink fleece. But since only 82% of the initial rolls resulted in a second roll, that means that there's actually only a 0.164% chance overall that a pink sheep will spawn. Those are pretty low odds. And so the real next question has to be, what do we do with this thing? I mean, the problem is in these versions, the sheep are just going to despawn, or maybe it'll get eaten by a wolf. And if I harvest its wool, I have to kill it. So I think I might just whip out the sword and kill it. But you know what we'll do? We'll take this pink wool block and we'll put it somewhere special. This was the first pink sheep that we found in this world. There we go. Safe and sound. And of course, we can now get rid of this from the to-do list. Let's take a little bit of a look at what's going on here. As you can see, we have slimes emerging from the deep, dark depths of the world, and they get caught up here in this water stream. As these slimes flow through, they go into the very first drowning chamber. Yeah, I know, horrific, right? But these slimes are too big to proceed through the system, and although it doesn't look like it, their heads are actually up here in this water block here. So as soon as this fella runs out of oxygen, there you can go, you can see that he's starting to take damage. Once this slime dies, it will split up into 4 new slimes. There you go. There's 4, or is it 3? There's 4 in there. And these slimes are too large to fit through this section of the farm. So they get caught up in exactly the same trap. The silly idiots, they drown in these blocks up here. Now, because there are 4 of them, quite often they will actually queue up in the system. As you can see, the little ones are now going through. And when this thing gets very busy, there can be quite a queue. It's a little bit like a sideshow, a very popular sideshow ride. Although I don't know why this would get such positive ratings, considering that you drown. But anyway, it does seem to be working. It took me quite a while to work out all of the specific layout of the water flows that I needed to make sure that everything was pushing in the same direction and there were no places where slime could get caught. As you can see here, there's even this weird whirlpool sort of thing going on, and I just had to compromise here and make that happen to ensure that any slimes that got caught up in the system always got pushed down this way. Now, as you can see down the end here, if I put the F3 on, we have got quite a few in here at the moment. I've just been loading them into this hole, and if we peer down here, you can see slime ball and quite a few slimes and a lot of slime balls in here from the last time that I harvested this just a few minutes ago. So I can come in here and punch away and clear them all out. And believe me, I've had many, many, many more in there than what you saw just now. This system gets me a lot of slime balls. In fact, I have probably several hundred now just during the construction of the farm. And I think that is what happens quite often. As you build a farm, you end up with a lot of the material that you end up farming. So there are some bottlenecks down there still. As you might be able to see there are some slime down here. And this is, I think this is where they start feeding up the stairs. Yeah, I think this is where the staircase begins to go up. And for some reason, they're getting stuck down there. I don't know why. And it's not going to be easy to troubleshoot because as soon as I get close to the slimes, they target me and change directions. And of course, they still get stuck down here, a little bit further down here where the system turns around and then comes back up this way. Unfortunately, that's a compromise that I had to make because I didn't want to send the slimes way too far away and end up not actually having the slime farm near the slime processor, which didn't make sense to me because you would want to keep both loaded at the same time. As you can see here, this section is not complete yet because I wanted an easy way to shut the system off while I'm working on it. And what I do is I just place some water right here, and by doing that it washes all of the slime back down here and they can't push against this water, so they end up getting stuck there and I can work on the machine in peace. So that has been very handy. But as soon as I clear that and that water drains away, you'll see those slimes starting to come back up into the system here and make their way through, which is always a joy to watch. And you know, now that the slime are coming through the system like this, we need to build a building around it. Something science labby, something like that. I'll have to figure out exactly what I want to do. But we're going to have to save that build for another day because I've been spending so much time preparing this slime farm that I'm exhausted and I need to take a little break. But before I do go today, I do want to upgrade my game from beta 1.6.4 to beta 1.6.5 because there are some bugs that are addressed in the next 2 versions that I'm kind of interested in seeing fixed. One of which is that if you shift click your inventory into a chest and that chest happens to be full, the game can crash. That's just really annoying. Another is an annoying little issue where if you pick blocks out and then items drop into the hole and then you fill in the hole with a block, the items stay down there instead of popping up through the block, which is supposed to happen. So that one is really very annoying. And the third one is that every time I drop one of my tools onto the ground, or if I die and my tools land on the ground, as we've seen before, their stack count reverts to 0 and those tools just disappear the next time I try and use them. But there is one particular way in which we might be able to exploit this bug in a fun way, which I'm keen to explore before we upgrade. Now in my inventory I have a brand new pick, but in order to do this I need to make sure that my tool has a durability point of damage or more. That's just the way that this works. So let's just break this and make sure that the pick now has at least 1 point of durability damage. Now, as we've seen before, if I drop this onto the ground and then pick it up again, the stack count will revert from 1 to 0, and that'll make the tool basically useless because the next time we try and use it, it will disappear from our inventory. But we've also seen that we can duplicate this item by right-clicking on it while the inventory's open. Well, I can show you that again when we get to exploit this vulnerability. But each time we do that, it actually decreases the counter by 1, pushing the stack count further and further into the negative. Now, because Minecraft operates on the basis of 16s and 8s and 64s, we know that the maximum stack size is 64. But if I continue to duplicate this pick and push the stack count so that the count goes to minus 128, by the time that I reach that point, the next time that I duplicate the pick, it should go into the positive, but it should go into the positive massively. So let's try this out. Okay, we have our pick. Let's throw it on the ground and pick it up again. As you can see, the stack count has now changed from 1 to 0. Now, if I open the inventory and pick up the pick and then right-click it like this, you can see that the count has now gone -1. And because of this, we can continue to do this until it reaches minus 128. Now I need to count this out in my head, so give me a moment. So according to the level.dat file, our inventory contains minus 128 of these pickaxes. Now if I right-click one more time, watch what happens. Look at that, it's changed from minus 128 to 127. So we are actually carrying around 127 pickaxes in that slot. Look at the torches here, it says 47, but here it doesn't display any kind of value, and that I find interesting. So let's see what happens when we relog into the game. Save and quit, go back in through single player, and look at that. It shows up 127 pickaxes here. It's raining. It's a sign that we shouldn't be messing around with Minecraft. I'm going to run upstairs and put these away because we're going to keep these just for fun. I'm not going to use 127 picks, and we'll see what happens to these over time. Right, so we're going to put these away in the special items chest here, and what I'm going to do is shift click these in because I'm hoping that they will retain this 127 value, but I think what's going to happen is that they're going to split into 2 stacks here, but let's have a look anyway. Oh, it's actually deleted 64 of them, but you know what? That's okay. I could probably have right-clicked on it and preserved the stack, but you know what? That's okay. These are illegal anyway. You know what? I just couldn't resist it. I wanted to see what happens if we were carrying around 127 bugged out pickaxes. So I've still got that stack up there in the chest, and I repeated the experiment down here. And now we have 127 pickaxes, so let's see what happens. Right, the last job of the day is to upgrade to Minecraft Beta 1.6.5 before we end out today's episode. And we've made it to Beta 1.6.5. My stack of 127 picks is still there, and you might notice that the Minecraft Beta 1.6.5 version number is no longer present in the top left-hand corner of the screen. And this is the first version in which that becomes the norm, and we won't see it up there when we're regularly playing the game from this point on, although it is visible when you hit the F3 key, so there's always that. But that's the end of today's episode, so thank you for watching, and an extra special thank you to my patrons. For now, this has been bugmancx. You've been watching Minecraft: The Journey. Bye bye.